Okay, I need to talk about this. I'm sitting here staring at a blank wall, and everything feels utterly unreal. My life, my future, everything I thought I had. It's just gone. And everyone's acting like I'm the villain, like I did something unforgivable. But they don't understand. They don't know what it's like to live with someone who's just always there, always doing those little things that grind on your nerves, but you can't say anything. Not to their face. My name is Chloe, and Ben, he was my boyfriend. We'd been together for 3 years, living together for the last year and a half in this chic, minimalist apartment downtown. It was supposed to be our perfect nest, our stepping stone to something bigger. Ben is, on paper, the ideal partner. He's a software engineer, meticulously organized, incredibly intelligent, and unfailingly reliable. He built us custom shelving, he pays all the bills on time, he remembers every single appointment, and he's never late. He's the definition of a good guy. The kind every mother tells her daughter to bring home. But good can also mean dull. So incredibly, soul-crushingly dull. Our life together had settled into a predictable hum. His early morning coding sessions, his meticulous meal prep, our quiet evenings watching documentaries about historical events or complex algorithms. His conversations revolved around debugging code, software architecture, and the endless minutiae of his projects. When I tried to inject some spontaneity, some life, suggest a last-minute flight to a new city, or a wild, uninhibited night out, he'd always have a reason. The budget, Chloe, or I have that early stand-up meeting, or I'm just so tired, honey, my brain is fried from work. Always tired, always busy, always prioritizing his structured, controlled world over my vibrant, desperate needs. He saw my desires as frivolous distractions from his grand plan for our secure future, our optimized life. He even color-coded his laundry. Color-coded. I felt like I was slowly suffocating, a vibrant flower wilting in perfectly fertile, yet utterly lifeless soil. I am a woman who thrives on energy, on laughter, on vibrant connection, on feeling adored and amused. Ben's affection had become routine, almost perfunctory. A pat on the head, a polite kiss goodnight. The passion we once had, the undeniable spark that drew us together in those exhilarating early days, had long since been replaced by a comfortable, quiet companionship. And comfortable can be a killer of the soul, especially when you're in your late 20s, watching other people live wildly, adventurously. I'd look at him across the dinner table, perfectly composed, impeccably dressed in his casual, yet structured tech bro attire, and feel nothing. Just a vast, aching emptiness, a profound sense of unfulfillment, punctuated by the faint click of his mechanical keyboard. This is where the Three Musketeers group chat came in. It's me, Sarah, and Beth, my 2 best friends since college. Sarah is married to Mark, who's a bit of a control freak with a bizarre obsession with his lawn. Beth is dating David, a charming but terribly flaky musician. We started the group chat years ago, originally for planning girls' nights, but it quickly evolved into our sacred space. Our sanctuary, our digital confessional booth where we could truly be ourselves, where we could vent, where we could laugh. And mostly we laughed about our partners. It was harmless, really, just blowing off steam. Everyone does it. We'd share stories, memes, screenshots of ridiculous texts. It was our way of coping, our collective therapy session. And Ben was often the star of the show. His quirks, which I initially found endearing, slowly became magnified into intolerable eccentricities. His meticulousness, which was once responsible, became obsessive. His quiet nature, once thoughtful, became boring. And the group chat was where I could finally truly express it all. You guys, I'd type, usually late at night, after Ben had fallen asleep mid-documentary. Guess what exciting thing Ben did today? He alphabetized the spice rack. Again. I swear, he talks to cumin more than he talks to me. Sarah would reply instantly. OMG, Mark spent 2 hours pruning a single rose bush. A single rose bush. I nearly self-combusted from boredom, Beth would add. At least he prunes. David left his dirty socks on the coffee table for 3 days. 3 days. We'd spiral from there. It wasn't mean-spirited, not really. Not in our minds. It was just funny. It was honest. It was our truth. It was a place where I could say the things I couldn't say to Ben's face because he was sensitive, because he'd get that wounded puppy dog look and then I'd be the bad guy. We mocked everything. His quiet hum when he concentrated. His habit of color-coding his workout clothes. His overly enthusiastic explanations of blockchain technology. His perfectly ironed, slightly too tight polo shirts. His incredibly detailed budgeting spreadsheets, complete with pie charts for entertainment spending, that were almost entirely empty. His choice of bland, unadventurous vacation destinations. His attempts at being romantic, which always felt choreographed and passionless, like a formula he derived from a textbook. I remember one particularly hilarious thread. I'd sent a picture of Ben proudly showing me his new, ergonomically designed keyboard. He literally just spent 30 minutes explaining the tactile feedback of the keys to me. I captioned it. Send help. My soul is leaving my body. Sarah. At least he has keys. Mark tried to fix our Wi-Fi by realigning the router's energy flow. We had no internet for 2 days. Beth. LOL. My David just tried to pay for groceries with a crumpled concert flyer. Twice. Me. Seriously though. Sometimes I think he loves his gadgets more than he loves me. He treats them with more reverence. He calls his server cabinet the brain. I swear I'm the appendix. Beth. Ha ha ha. The appendix. Dying. You guys are too much. Sarah. Tell me about it. At least he's not secretly growing carnivorous plants in the garage. Mark thinks they purify the air. It was cathartic. It was harmless. It was just us women understanding other women, letting off steam about the mundane absurdities of our relationships. Ben never suspected. He was too trusting, too absorbed in his own quiet world, too naive to imagine his girlfriend might actually have desires beyond his steady, predictable presence, or too self-absorbed in his own meticulously optimized life to notice the subtle seismic shifts in mine. He was a good man, yes, but he was a perfectly flat, perfectly unexciting road. And I was driving nowhere fast. My behavior around him started to reflect my true feelings, though I didn't realize it at the time. I stopped trying to initiate conversation. I often wore headphones even when he was in the room. My responses became clipped, my smiles forced. I was living for the group chat, for the moments with Sarah and Beth where I felt truly understood, truly seen. He'd occasionally try to connect. Everything all right, Chloe? You seem a little distant lately. I just sighed dramatically. Just tired, Ben. Long day. Adulting is exhausting. He'd nod, sympathetic. Never pushing, never probing. The changes in me were subtle, yet evident, though I thought I was disguising them well. My clothes became a little bolder. My makeup a little more dramatic. A touch of defiance in my everyday. My conversations were sharper, more cynical, especially when discussing relationships and the general dullness of urban life. Sarah and Beth knew what was going on, of course. They were my ride or dies. But other friends, mutual acquaintances started to pick up on it. Liam, Michael's best friend, the other Michael from our story, and Ben's colleague would sometimes look at me with a strange expression. "You're different, Chloe," he once said, his brow furrowed. More sarcastic. "Is Ben okay? He seems a bit withdrawn lately." I just waved it off. "Oh, you know Ben. Always in his head. Just his engineer thing." Liam didn't look convinced. The secret life, the constant stream of sarcastic commentary, began to feel like a pressure cooker. It was exhilarating, but it was also exhausting. I had to be so careful. My phone was a constant companion, its screen carefully guarded. I cleared browser history religiously, deleted group chat messages after a few days, just to be safe. Ben was an engineer. He understood data. I didn't want to leave any digital footprints. Then came the slip-up. It was so stupid, so utterly idiotic, I still can't believe it happened. We had a guest coming over, and Ben was, predictably, meticulously cleaning the apartment. He asked me to help clear some old files from my laptop, which I rarely used anymore. It was an older model, mostly for photos and old-school projects. I was supposed to wipe the hard drive. I got distracted, though. A text came in from Sarah. A hilarious screenshot of Mark trying to fix a leaky pipe with duct tape. I wanted to share it with Ben, to show him how relatable it was, to finally get him to laugh at someone else's expense. But in my haste, probably a combination of sleep deprivation and the sheer absurdity of Mark's duct tape disaster, I accidentally forwarded the screenshot not to Ben's personal number, but to our shared household management email, the one where he sent all our bills, our joint calendar invites. And it wasn't just the duct tape screenshot. Because of some weird setting I'd forgotten about, or maybe because I'd accidentally hit forward entire chat history, the email attachment included a full unredacted transcript of the Three Musketeers group chat. Hundreds of messages. Months of our conversations. All the jokes, all the complaints, all the rude, snarky, utterly demeaning comments about Ben. My nickname for him? The algorithm. Sarah's comparison of his emotional range to a broken calculator. Beth's constant jokes about his beige soul. All of it. I didn't realize my mistake until hours later, when I was lying in bed, scrolling through my sent emails on my phone, making sure I'd deleted everything from my personal accounts. My blood ran cold. The email. To the shared address. Oh no. No. Panic flared hot and sharp. I scrambled out of bed, grabbed Ben's laptop from his desk, my fingers fumbling. I needed to delete it. Before he saw it. Before he understood. But he was already in the living room, sitting on his perfectly organized sofa, staring at my laptop. His face was utterly blank. His posture was rigid. He wasn't watching a documentary. He was reading. Reading my email. Reading the group chat. My stomach dropped. My breath hitched. Ben. I whispered, my voice barely audible, laced with a fear I'd never experienced. What are you doing? He slowly looked up. His eyes. His eyes were not dull, not bewildered, not tired. They were cold. Hard. Like polished granite. There was no confusion, no apology, no weariness. Only an intense, chilling clarity. His grip on the laptop tightened. I know, Chloe, he said. His voice flat, emotionless, utterly devoid of any warmth I had ever known. I know everything. My mind raced, frantically searching for an explanation, a plausible lie, anything to make this nightmare disappear. Know what, Ben? What are you talking about? I tried to feign confusion, innocence, but my voice trembled, a betrayal I couldn't control. He turned the laptop screen towards me. The glowing text filled the screen. My words. My friend's words. Thousands of them. All the casual cruelty, the dismissive jokes, the biting sarcasm, the utter contempt. My nickname for him, the algorithm, flashed like a neon sign. I found it, Chloe, he said, his voice a low, steady rumble, completely unlike his usual polite cadence. Months of this. Years probably if I traced it back. Your group chat. The jokes. The insults. The utter disdain you and your friends have for me. For my life. For everything I am. My face crumpled. Ben, it's not what you think. It was just a joke. It was venting. Just harmless banter among friends. You were never around, you were always so busy, so dull. I needed to blow off steam. You pushed me away. Tears streamed down my face. Genuine tears of fear, panic, and overwhelming self-pity. This was the ultimate injustice. Being caught like this, having my private thoughts exposed. He slowly stood, pushing his chair back. His movements were deliberate, unhurried. He was no longer the soft-spoken Ben. He was something harder, colder. Venting, Chloe? You called me the algorithm. You compared me to a broken calculator. You mocked my passions, my efforts, my very being. You shared intimate details of our life, our private moments, and turned them into cruel entertainment for your friends. This wasn't venting. This was calculated, consistent contempt. He walked towards the sleek new briefcase I hadn't noticed by the door. I've been talking to a lawyer, Chloe, for weeks. Since I started to notice how you changed, how your disdain for me grew, how you seemed to be glowing for reasons that weren't me. It started with subtle shifts in your texts, your guarded phone calls, then the increasing emotional distance. I began to realize your tiredness was actually active avoidance. And then today, this. He opened the briefcase. Inside, neatly stacked, were printouts, transcripts of my group chat, copies of our joint bank statements, meticulously cross-referenced with unexplained expenses, his own detailed work logs, every piece of data, every bit of evidence laid bare. These are the papers, Chloe, he said, his voice flat, emotionless. My lawyer advises me that, with this evidence of your emotional cruelty and the irreparable damage to our relationship, I will be dissolving our shared tenancy agreement. You have until the end of the month to move your personal belongings out of this apartment. I will be retaining it. All shared accounts will be frozen, and then divided by my lawyer based on our contributions. There will be no further communication between us, beyond what's legally necessary through our representatives. My mind reeled. My head spun. The apartment? You can't be serious. This is my home too. I decorated it. I made it a home. You can't just take everything because of a few harmless jokes. It's not fair. I supported you. I endured your boringness. You can't just throw me out. He looked at me, a flicker of something cold in his eyes, a glint of the ruthless efficiency of the software engineer he was at work, now turned on me. You endured my boringness, Chloe. I worked tirelessly every single day to provide the stability, the comfort, the financial security you claimed you wanted. I loved you. I supported you. I tried to be the partner you needed, even when you consistently made me feel like I wasn't enough, that my efforts were always insufficient. You found humor in my perceived flaws, in the very things that make me who I am. This isn't about a few harmless jokes, Chloe. This is about years of emotional abuse, documented and now undeniable. He walked towards the front door. He had a small overnight bag by the entrance, packed and ready. This wasn't a sudden angry departure. This was planned, meticulous, just like his algorithms. You can't just leave. I screamed after him, scrambling off the couch, utterly terrified, feeling a sudden raw animalistic panic. This isn't fair. This is my life. You're ruining my life. He paused, his hand on the doorknob. He turned his head slightly, and his voice was chillingly calm, utterly devoid of warmth or regret. No, Chloe. You ruined it. I'm just cleaning up the code. And then he was gone. The click of the door echoed in the silent, too-perfect apartment, a final, definitive sound sealing my fate. He didn't slam it. He didn't yell. He didn't even look back. He just left, calmly, definitively, leaving me utterly alone amidst the ruins of my self-made kingdom. Now I'm here alone, facing the reality of losing everything. Sarah and Beth are too shocked or too busy to talk, their judgment palpable even through their polite texts. They're probably worried about their own partners finding out about their group chats. My parents are disappointed and don't understand why I couldn't just be happy with what I had, or be more appreciative. Everyone is blaming me. Me, the one who was just trying to be authentic, the one who was just speaking her mind. The one who was just trying to inject some life into a dead-end relationship. It's not fair. How can a few harmless jokes, a little venting justify all of this? He's acting like I'm the monster, the manipulative one. But I was the one stuck with the emotionally unavailable, dull, predictable man who starved me of excitement and then weaponized my own search for understanding against me. I was the one who deserved more. I was the victim here. And now I'm paying for it. It's truly, utterly unjust. And I'm left to wonder, how did I, Chloe, the vibrant, authentic woman, end up so utterly alone and wronged?